Hey, hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back with another Sister Wives Season 16 review. You know how Christine says her famous, "What does the nanny do?" I have another question after watching this episode. And my question is, what does Cody do? Besides throw tantrums, decides punish wives, and act like a complete clown, what does Cody do? Because in this episode, one thing that is clear to me is how crappy of not just a parent, but a person Cody is, because he is not there for his kids emotionally, and he's not there for them financially either. But go ahead, do me a favor, hit the like button as we begin this episode review. I'm going to try to remain calm, you guys. But when I say that even in taking my notes, I felt myself yelling as I'm talking in to my phone to take the notes. And it's ridiculous at how many corrections that I saw that I needed to make just based off of my anger and frustration. Hopefully I caught them all, but y'all know me, I'm the blooper queen. So if not, just bear with me. So we begin this episode back in New Jersey at Christine's sister's house. They're sitting around the table having family dinner, both Christine and her kids, and her sister, her husband, and their kids. Christine lets us know that Cody and her are in a tough spot right now, and that she does not mind having to get away, but she knows that when she comes back, that the trouble is still going to be there. Cody then tells us that there is a rift between Christine and him, but he doesn't see how he could be there with Isabelle during this whole COVID experience. I don't understand what the rift has to do with any of that. I think you should have just stuck to talking about your child, because it's simple. If Cody truly is afraid of getting on a plane or being gone that long due to exposure, then get in one of your many vehicles and drive for your kid. Take a test, because at this time they're available. Take a test to see whether or not you have anything, much like the camera crew that's surrounding you probably have to do. Quarantine, do what you got to do to get there. But it doesn't seem like he tried at all to make an effort, because his kids, as we'll talk about later on, were willing to do more than it seems that Cody was willing to do. So Isabelle gets flowers delivered to her, and my crazy self, for whatever reason, thought that the bald eagle actually cared about his child and had that done for her. But then we hear it read and we find out it's not from Cody. Instead, it's from the grandparents. Very sweet, though. Very sweet. The bird says, COVID has made everyone feel so distant. It's made everyone feel so distant from their loved ones. It's depressing and it's isolating and it's hard. The bird talks like she's actively engaged with these women, like she's actively engaged with these kids, when she obviously has not been for quite a long time. Even prior to the pandemic, she was not seeing the other family members. So why is she sitting here on the couch talking like she has been? Janelle tells us that it is an extremely trying period, especially for Christine and Isabelle, given what's going on, not to have the support that they should have. And she feels deeply emotional about it, that on an emotional level, that they aren't there to help them. And I'm listening to Janelle, and I believe her. I do. I believe what Janelle is saying here. I do believe that she wanted to be there, especially because she did try to help Christine in other ways. I just wonder, and you all tell me what you think, why Janelle didn't go. I wonder if it's because Cody didn't want her to go, if she knew she would hear Cody's mouth, if she couldn't because of her own kids and their situation. Because I think if Isabelle had asked Janelle, that Janelle would have went. I do. Just in the way that she's talking, I think that out of all of them, even out of Cody, when it came to the other parents, that in my opinion, Janelle seemed to be the most concerned. So it's surgery day. Cody gave Isabelle a hoodie so that she could feel like she was getting hugged from him. You're able to hand her a hoodie, but you couldn't hug her in real life in person. Was the hoodie already at Christine's house? I'm being very, very petty here, but I just want to know, was it washed? Like, how is it that she was given permission to wear this hoodie and she didn't have to worry about any germs, but you couldn't do something simple as give her a hug for a matter of moments before she left? Christine says the biggest struggle for Isabelle at this point is that Cody is not there, that he was there for all these other appointments and all these other states that they went to when it came to her scoliosis. So him not being there now for her is hard. Isabelle gets it, but it's emotionally ripping her apart. I personally would never forgive that man for hurting my child like that. And if I was Isabelle, I probably would never forget the fact that my father wasn't there. They continue preparation for surgery. Christine explains that the procedure is happening. She tells us all about it again. We see Isabelle laying in the hospital bed, and then Christine telling us that they willed her away. She trusts the doctors, but of course, like any other parent, she's scared. She talks about how incredible her daughter is and how long she's been dealing with this pain. And then we flash back to a clip from 2017 where Isabelle says, it's hard because I look bigger with the brace on, and it's emotionally hard, and that it's horrible wearing the brace, that the brace hurts me all over, that it bruises me. As she's sitting there, well, standing there with Christine putting on the brace, and you hear her talking while this is going on in the flashback, you can see that even while Christine is tightening up the different strips and clasping different apparatuses, that Isabelle looks like standing there putting on the brace, that she's defeated, number one. And number two, she's holding back tears, which means there was some obvious discomfort there. And she's crying in that confessional at that time while telling us that this is going on and these are her thoughts. So with Cody saying he didn't know she was in so much pain and acting like he was oblivious to the situation, I find it hard to believe that he was truly around and as supportive and as present as Christine tries to hype him up and make him sound. Because I'm sitting here and I'm watching this, and you all have watched this, and we've gathered this, but does Cody not watch the show? Does he just fast forward and only watch the parts where he's up there? Because how did he not see this? How did he not know this? I know it's been said, that the pain is invisible. There are times where we're in different levels of discomfort and we may not know. Example, right now, my back is bothering me, which is why I'm sitting where I'm sitting, because this position feels more comfortable for me. With that being said, people may be in discomfort and you may not know, but you're supposed to check in when it comes to your kids, and you're supposed to check in when it comes to them when you know that they have a situation like this where they're in constant discomfort and pain. So we're back in Arizona now, right? Janelle has been back from North Carolina for a couple of weeks, and Cody is just now coming over there to see her. He says because Garrison and Gabriel still have lives outside of the home, he hasn't been over there. He's still socially distancing from them. And I'm confused. You all correct me down in the comments the way that you guys do so in such a kind way, because I thought that Janelle showed us a mini apartment area with a bed and told us there was a kitchen and some other things in there that the boys were staying in. Was it just one son or was it both? I don't remember. Because why is it such an issue if they're not staying in the house? So he's there to see what they have to do in order for him to be home, he walks up and Janelle is raking her yard. Now, you would think that this man who loves to let us know that he is the man, that he is the alpha, that he is the leader, would do something to assist his wife. Yet the man, the alpha, the leader, stands there while his wife is doing yard work and talks about the leaves, but doesn't offer to help her with said leaves. Why didn't you help her with it? Because if her boys were out there or if Savannah was out there, I'm sure that they would have helped. But she's expected to choose this man who can't do something as simple as pick up a rake and help her over her kids. Janelle says at first, Maddie was, trying to visit. She wanted to visit. But because of the way things are, it's going to be logistically impossible. I wonder what that meant. I wonder if that had to do something with Caleb's job or if it was in terms of, did Evie have to do certain follow-ups that to make sure that she was healing properly? Like, what prevented them to do that? Or did she mean that it would be impossible because Cody wouldn't want them to be there, because he would want them to quarantine for a certain amount of time before they could come into the house and all those other things? Like, what prevented that from being a thing? So she says that the good news is that Hunter has been able to come there a lot because he's now on the East Coast. This is when we find out that Hunter, my fave, is working on his master's in nursing at Johns Hopkins. And as she said it, I said, do they realize what a big deal that is? I always have this soft spot in my heart for nurses. Medical personnel, period, really. I love my doctor friends, but I have this really, really soft spot for nurses because they are some dope individuals. They interact, in my opinion, more with the patients at times than the doctors and the surgeons do. And if you find a nurse that really enjoys what they do, that's real passionate about their job and people, the way that they care about their patients, like they're an extension of their family, in my opinion, warms my heart. I remember when my mom, this is off topic. I remember when my mother was going through her things and when she had her heart attack, and towards the end, how the staff, the nurses, were talking about how much they were going to miss her. And when we were leaving, they were crying. I'm looking at these people like, oh my goodness, you really have bonded with my mother. And I appreciated them because they made things so much easier, even for me, who at times was having to go back and forth between sitting with my mom and coming home to make sure my son was good right quick and then going right back to the hospital. They made me feel okay with leaving my mother at certain periods for moments in time. And I just feel like there should be more poured onto our medical professionals because of the sacrifices that you make. So I'm on a tangent right here and I'm way off topic, but I just want to say thank you for your sacrifice. It matters. It makes a difference. You don't get enough credit. You don't get enough pay. The way that a lot of you all put yourselves out there and put yourselves in dangerous places during the pandemic and things of that nature, and the things that go on in your day-to-day lives that we don't see, but yet you still show up and you're there for sick people who aren't always easy to deal with. Thank you, right? Okay, let me get back to this. So, because he's getting his master's in nursing at Johns Hopkins, he's able to see his sister more frequently. It's 5 hours away. And as Janelle is talking about this, out of all the things to pick up, Cody lets us know that he's bothered by this, that he's jealous of people. These are your kids, but he's jealous of people who aren't socially distancing because some of the family is being diligent about preventing exposure, whereas some of the family is being lackadaisical about it. He has two portions of family that he doesn't even get to see. But you didn't see them before the pandemic either, because one of the things that the kids and the wives were complaining about was not seeing you, to the point that the bird tried to insert herself in it, knowing that she was one of the few that actually did see you. So he says Christine travels all the time and Janelle has the boys. So he's been mainly staying at the bird's house. But you have not been mainly staying at the bird's house. Don't say mainly because it's more palatable. Say mainly is like, oh, sometimes I stay there, but sometimes I don't. When we know the truth is that you're always there. It's not a mainly thing. That's where you spend the night. It's like, are y'all filming this out of sequence? Because 1 minute he's there, 1 minute he's not, 1 minute he's splitting his time, 1 minute like, what exactly are we doing here? Okay. Janelle says, Garrison's been saving for a year for a home, and he has been pre-approved for his mortgage. He has enough at this point for the closing costs, but he doesn't have enough for the down payment. Keep in mind, she's not saying this because she's expecting Cody to pay anything. She's saying this because she expects for Cody to understand why he's still in the home, okay? She says the price of real estate here is extremely high in Flagstaff, which is why he doesn't have enough for the down payment. And as she's saying this, I said they really did not think about this move and how this move would affect them down the line. Okay. Janelle tells us that 6 weeks ago, her hunk of a man, Mr. Abs and Triceps himself, realized that Garrison had more of a social life than he thought that he originally did. We don't know what the realization was. Maybe he saw him out and about. Maybe Garrison said something. Maybe Janelle's like he's at a girlfriend's house, or he's out in work, or maybe he's laying outside, laying carpet. I don't know. I just thought about what I said. This is why you gotta stick to your notes. How easy gonna be outside laying carpet? Oops. Okay. As a result of that, whatever he's doing, whatever makes his life more social, Cody wants Garrison out. He wants him to move out. And Janelle didn't agree to it. She felt it was wrong. She does not want to kick her kids out without them being established. And I am team Janelle all the way on this. Cody, as he continues to talk, seems to be blaming Janelle for his son's, or I should say, for Garrison's failure to be doing something else. But I'm annoyed with it because you're putting so much stock in Garrison because he isn't bending down and kissing the ring or dropping a knee or doing everything that you want him to do. But Robin's kids have a failure to launch too, because at this point, every last one of them is still home. But there are different expectations for the OG3 versus the Feathers and that crew. And he's perfectly okay with that. Your son is trying to get a home. You don't have a problem providing a home for a woman and her 3 children when they first entered the home, breaking up things, struggling, going back and forth, driving on bald tires, but you have a problem with providing a home for your son as he tries to do better for himself. And I may be reaching here. Y'all tell me down below if I am. But that was my immediate thought. We're not talking about this young man not putting forth any effort. We're not acting like he's sitting on a couch at home playing video games, or he's talking on the phone, or he's laying there doing nothing with himself. We're talking about a young man who signed up for the National Guard. We're talking about a young man who did additional schooling. We're talking about a young man who's trying to get his footing. We're talking about Cody's son. And maybe I'm getting more upset because of how things have transpired now, but this young man at this point is in his early 20s, and you want to kick him out because you all have some differences in opinion. Do I agree with the way Garrison and Gabriel handled the situation and some of the things that they were saying? No, I do not. I don't agree with it. But at the end of the day, this is your kid. And you're talking like he's not your kid. He's trying to save up to purchase a home, not oogly paintings like what y'all done, not pointless cars, not wasting money on ATVs, not spending frivolous money on upgrading Robin's rings and your rings and things of that nature. He's putting this as a way to start a new life for himself. And you want to complain about it. You rather throw him out on the street than let him save for his home. At this point, in my mind, Cody has no redeeming qualities, in my opinion, none. I can't think of any, because he can't say that it's his hair anymore, because every time he bends down, he's missing like a whole section here and there's a little strip here. So we're not going to act like he has any redeeming qualities. He has none. He fathers all of these children, and the ladies, the women, in my opinion, might as well be a single mom, because all Cody has done is been a donation. A donation. This is what I get. He's been a donor, okay? That's what I'm about to say. A donor who only believes in being involved as long as they say and do what he wants them to do. So the bald eagle says, Janelle, you're behaving as if this is your problem. Y'all, let me not sit back too much, because I don't got on a bra. TMI. You guys, are you serious here? You're behaving as if this is our problem. I am 40 years old, 40 years of age, currently in the process of looking for a gently used SUV, because my child now has his license, right? And as a result of my child being a senior in school, he doesn't have to be at school as long. Matter of fact, he leaves school 2 hours earlier than the rest of some of his friends, right? He's been dropping me off at work. Why? So he can use the car. Also, the bus schedule at this point is jacked up because the buses are still coming late. With that being said, let me get back on where my point is here. 40 years old, 40, big 4-0, have a whole son that I take care of, right? And I'm looking for an SUV. And my father knows that I'm looking for an SUV. So what does my father do? My father sends recommendations. Look, at this point, I know you used to having a Nissan, but you need to leave Nissans alone. They're not making the parts where they used to. They're making parts over there in Tennessee. You need to make sure that you're sticking with your Hondas, your Toyotas. Matter of fact, I don't even want you to have that. I want you to get yourself a nice Acura truck. He recommends what type of truck I should get. He tells me what year has the least complaints on it, because of course, him being him, he's looked up the different facts and look at car complaints and all these other things, and tells me what type of package I can get, to the point where even though I'm obviously not going to buy the car from where he is, he's over there checking out different things in different places and sending me different links, to the point where I'm getting a little overwhelmed, because like, okay, Dad, I said I want to get this within the next couple of months. You're acting like I'm getting this today. But my father is extremely involved, to the point where even while I was writing these notes, he was sending me different things to think of and look for when I'm looking at said SUVs, right? Why? Because I'm his child. And maybe it's different when you grow up with, a parent that is West Indian, that is from the Caribbean. I don't know. I mean, I would think not. I've seen some of my friends that are American that have families that would do the same thing that I'm describing my father doing. I'm sure that there are those of you who are a part of this YouTube fam that have done the same. It gives him peace knowing that his kid isn't being taken advantage of, knowing that his children are good, knowing that his children aren't throwing away money, wasting things when we've worked so hard to be able to make certain purchases or saved up or whatever the situation is. It brings parents who care peace to know their kids are good. But because Cody is such a douchebag, douchebag. He wants to complain and act like it doesn't make sense for a mother to want to make sure that her son isn't being trampled upon because he's getting tossed out of the house. He says, she's trying to help me to get Garrison so that her and I can get back to a normal lifestyle. He's an adult that has to deal with adult things. When has Cody ever dealt with adult things? Because all Cody has done all his life is leech from woman to woman to woman to woman. Even his jobs beforehand. He got jobs prior to being married because of Janelle. After being married because of Janelle. So what are we talking about here? Your wife made more money than you, and there's nothing wrong with it. But stop acting like you did everything without the help of others, and all she's asking for you to do is give your son more time to save. He says, we gave Garrison the launch years ago. And Janelle tells us, but this is when I get mad at Janelle. Janelle, stop telling us stuff and talk to your husband. Call him out when he's saying the things that he says, because you called him out a little bit, but you didn't call him out enough for me. Okay? You should have done more calling out in this situation, because she tells us that all they did for Garrison was they gave him a car, which is the same thing that they did for everybody else, because we see that they give different cars and pass down cars and all those other things. She says everything else that Garrison did, he did for himself. He went to the military and he did the rest on his own. And we know that because military does what? For some, it provides housing. It provides the ability for some to go on for further education. It gives certain loans. There are benefits of being a military personnel. I'm not going to knock it. My father did very well for himself in the military, as have others, as have some of you all. So we're not going to sit here and act like this boy didn't work hard to get where he got. She says we've done it for others. I want her to say we've done more for others, but she says we've done it for others. Even dipping into our retirement. And I want her to say her retirement, because what retirement does Cody have when Cody switches jobs like some of us change our underwear? How is he able to have savings when he has a bird that likes to go spend money left and right? I don't remember how much some sandals were on her feet, but I saw somebody said that she had some sandals on her feet that were hundreds of dollars. She don't got a job. How does she have sandals that are worth that much and she doesn't have a job? So now Cody is blaming his lack of involvement, his lack of interaction with her and Savannah on the boys. And he wants her to make a choice. She lets him know that her kids are her world. And with plural marriage, that's just what happens. And she doesn't know she can make that choice. And Christine agrees. But of course, the bird and Meri feel like it should be equal. There's no shocker there. I'm not married, so maybe I shall stay in my lane. But married people, let me know. What do you think? Do you think that it's equal? Do you think that your husband comes before your children? Whatever it is. I know, what some biblical, teachings say, and I have a little bit of trouble with some of that, because me personally, I got to admit, if it's between me and my child, not me and my child and a man at this point, it's always going to be my child. But I'm not married. I don't know what that marriage situation looks like, but I still think it's going to be my child. I just got to be honest. I know me, and I just can't see myself putting no man before my child. Just not me. Meri feels like you shouldn't have to choose. I agree. You shouldn't. Cody should have never even made that statement. But you're sitting here and you're saying all these things like these boys can't see this. And then you're going to say that the moms have poisoned the kids when you sit up here and you continue to talk about them, their moms. So Cody then brings up Christine for whatever reason and talks junk about her, telling Janelle that if you want to play Christine's game, I get it, but that's not fair to you and me. What is Christine's game? Cody says, this whole situation has made me realize in plural marriage, I don't matter. Christine is fine with me doing me, but Christine is not fine with him doing him. She's been asking for several years for him to be more considerate of them. And he was the one that kept saying, it's not about you and me, it's about the family. He did it with the rock exercise. He has this way of merging the pandemic with his actions from the past, when his actions from the past had nothing to do with the pandemic. The pandemic is just providing him with an excuse. And he proves this by his next statement. She's been complaining about the lack of romance and closeness between us for years. And then he makes some type of statement and I deleted it, but he says something about how, I could say sweet nothings and white poetry, but it would be false. He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to work on it. He says, Janelle, this is really indicative of our crappy relationship, me and Christine's. But you and I don't have a crappy relationship. And I read in between all of that. Because Cody has always talked about how these wives talk about him. Yet we keep seeing instances now, the very thing that you always complain about is the very thing that you do. Because we've seen Cody on more than one occasion talk crap to his wives. He did it with Janelle and Robin and talking about Christine. Not Christine and talking about, no, he talked about Christine too. He did it with Janelle and Robin when talking about Meri, and now he's doing it with Janelle talking about Christine. This is what he's done. But even though we're seeing this right here, he'll deny it. So he feels like Janelle is taking a risk with their relationship by choosing the kids and not him. I think Cody brought up Christine to show Janelle, if you don't fall in line, then what's going to happen to you is me and you are going to have the same type of interactions that I have with Christine. You think you don't see me now? Wait till you really, really don't see me. My opinion, tell me yours. Janelle says, I can't stay away from you much longer, but I don't know what to do about my boys. He tells us that he's not the head of this family, but he is the head in some places. He thinks he's the head in some places, which he's talking about the bird's nest. And that's because he's at his honeymoon period over there. Remember, they allow him to be the man. They allow him to feel like he's making the decisions, which in a roundabout way, the bird just makes decisions for him, but he doesn't realize it because he's so enamored by her beauty. He says, me being the head was what was supposed to happen. What we have now is not the deal that we had when we got married. But Cody has never been the head. He's never been the lead. The wives led. So we're back in New Jersey. The surgery ended up being 2 hours longer than expected because he said Isabelle was very stiff. He was thinking that he would only have to release 3 places along her spine, but he ended up having to release 6. He then shows the image, and the first thing I notice of her back is all those screws. And I think that Christine really didn't realize, as I said last review, how invasive that this procedure was. But the surgery seems to have been successful because she went from having a 55-degree curve to now having a 15-degree curve. That's amazing. Christine walks in the room while she's in recovery, and goodness gracious, when I started crying. I gotta be real. I feel like I'm so getting teary-eyed now. You hear Isabelle say, do I have a killer scar? And she's told that she does. She then tells her mom, I love you so much. Can you call Dad? Tell him I miss him. Oh, that poor baby. Because she kept, in the episode, we kept seeing video of her asking for her dad. Asking for her daddy. Call Dad. Call Dad. I miss Dad. Dad. And it's like, you son of a bee. How could you not have been there for your child? No, I take that back. I don't want to call him no SOB because that's not right. That's not fair. I'm going to call him a jerk. I'm going to call him a douchebag. I'm going to call him inhumane, but I'm not going to call him that. That's a blooper. Take it out. That's not my nature. I got to keep it, With that being said, Christine says, without a doubt, I know he would love to be here if he could. And it's just so bittersweet. Christine, when she said that, I said, Christine is still protecting that man because he could be there. He didn't want to come. I don't care what he says. He did not want to come. It's the next day, and we hear how Isabelle had a really rough night because of how bad her pain was, to the point where the nurses kept coming in to try to help her and to ease her pain. And while going in and out of speaking versus not speaking, she would keep asking for her father. And that went on all night. And at some point, she did talk to Cody and it helped a little bit, but what kind of crappy person is Cody that he couldn't be there for his kid? There's no way I could hear that my child is going through all of that and I'm not showing up. I'm sorry. She says there are different things that Isabelle has to do to get out of the hospital in the next 5 days. She has to be able to sit up, put her legs on the ground, walk to a chair, then be able to walk around a corner, down a long hall to where a map is, where she'll put a sticker on the map of where she is. And Christine, while she's making some of her first steps, is recording her saying your dad would be so proud of you. And I know she's doing it to motivate Isabelle, but she's better than me because he would have not gotten any footage of my child when you couldn't show up for my child. I'm just being honest. Not for that. You can get a picture of this event, a picture of that event. Maybe I'll video record this and that. But the surgery that you didn't show up to, I'm not doing anything because you should have been there. I'm petty. Sorry. I got to keep it honest. We are now back in Flagstaff with Meri. She's hiking by herself, saying how lonely it is being by herself and how she misses the family. Christine says, if I didn't have my girls, I would go insane. In other words, how is Meri doing this? The bird says, it's funny. I do feel lonely because I'm isolated from the rest of the family and my brothers and my sisters and my parents and my friends too. Bird, we don't care about you. We don't. Janelle says she texts Meri here and there. Interesting that Janelle has more contact with Meri than Robin, who supposedly is supposed to be Meri's friend. If Meri is isolating herself, if Meri is quarantining and she's all alone, if Meri is doing these things, why is it that Meri is not invited to Robin's house? Why is it that Meri can't come and see the kids? Why is it that no one calls Meri and says, come on over and we can sit outside and play? She's by herself. She's able to sit next to you on a table. So why can't she come over to your house? They show the truth of things in other ways. So Janelle says that she also talks to Christine and has met up with her, confirming what Christine already told us. Notices that she doesn't say anything about interaction with the bird because no one likes that lady. Cody lets us know that he doesn't talk to Meri on a regular basis. Their relationship doesn't require that. And he doesn't feel like the sister wives feel like having interaction with her on a daily basis either. So as I said in previous episodes, then why have her come to Flagstaff? Why did she need to be there so badly? Why continue to pressure her and give her a hard time and give her false hope about being there when you knew that you felt this way? Meri believes if she shows Cody enough unconditional love that he, in my opinion, will love her back. I feel like she thinks that she could have worked through this and got past this, but he is done. Because you're talking about recent conversations and how now you're friends and how you're hoping for more and how he said things that make her feel like there will be no repair. And sometimes you're discouraged and sometimes you have hope and you're not going anywhere and he's stuck with you whether you like it or not. And you're laughing and things of that nature. And then you talk about the catfish, but you call it the dark period of your life and all these other things and how you were considering all aspects and you thought about going to do your own thing, but eventually you made the decision to say, which I feel like is because it was a fake, and you come back and when you go through all these things and you have these ups and downs, you can't help but think about the unconditional love that you have from Solomon and Ariella. And I don't mean any harm. Those are not her biological children. You're not staying in a marriage for the sake of the children because the children don't even hardly interact with you. And as she's crying about it, I just feel bad because I'm wondering if Meri thought that If she cared so much for Robin and those kids that it would get her to a better position with Cody. And I'm not saying that she doesn't love them. I just believe that she possibly felt like that could have helped, play a part into them reuniting. But you all tell me your opinion. So Meri says, I have relationships that are good, rocky, and some that are non-existent. And I want to talk more about the non-existent ones. Let's stop talking like in circles about things and get straight to the point. So Cody says, I have 4 wives that don't even call each other. They don't video call, and they're mad about not interacting, but they've done nothing to fix it. In my opinion, he doesn't want them to fix it. So we're back to New Jersey. It is 6 days at the hospital, and we see Isabelle take the long walk with the support of her mother. Christine says that at this point, she can do nothing but be there for her emotionally because the recovery is on Isabelle. She has to do the work. They finally leave. She's in a lot of pain. She has a lot of medication to take. On the ride home, every bump makes her cry out. But they get to her auntie's house where Aspen, Mitch, and Hunter are there waiting to support their sister. Christine said that the 3 of them really wanted to come and be there for her, so they had several talks about things. She let them know about the guidelines and how strict that they had to be, and that would be the only way that they could follow them. And as I'm hearing this, I said, okay, so your 3 siblings were smart enough to consider what had to be done in order to be there for their sister. So much smarter than their father. Hunter is 3 hours away, so he got there. I don't know how far Utah is, but, they got there as well. He says, I hate to see her in all this pain. When you're in this much pain, I think what's important is getting family time. So I'm just glad that I can be here for her. Christine says it may not be safe on paper, but seeing the look in her daughter's eyes and knowing how her daughter felt when she saw them was exactly what Isabelle needed. And she did. Good energy helps with healing. It just does. She says that she's excited that they're there. You see her show her scar. They're impressed. Hunter says, you're like this Amazonian woman, tall and beautiful. And as he said it, I was like, oh, Hunter. I just love the dynamic between the OG3 kids. Christine says, them taking this risk is wonderful. I didn't know how much I needed them to be here and how much she needed them to be there. And Isabelle is going to remember that these 3 were really there for her. As messed up as this family dynamic is, the kids love each other. They show up for each other. And it warms my heart that they've remained connected like this even now. At least the OG3 have. Most of them at least. So we flash to a couple weeks later. The adults are outside. I did not mean to be here this long at Christine's. Sorry, it's lengthy. They've been back for a couple of days, and Christine is there to let them know how things went. We hear about how disappointed, once again, because it's always about Cody. Cody is that he wasn't able to go. And I want him to stop saying he couldn't go because he could go. He says, hi, Christine. How are you doing? She says, I'm exhausted. He thinks it's because of jet lag, because his dumb tail doesn't realize, because he hasn't asked how much it entails to be there for Isabelle at this point. And Christine says, I'm exhausted because every 2 hours I have to wake up to give my daughter medicine. Janelle immediately, without hesitating, without skipping a beat, as any other parent would, says, is there any way that I can help you with that? The father of the child isn't even saying this. Janelle says, I remember Maddie when she had her medical situation and how grueling it was to get up various hours of the night to make sure that she got her medication. So I'll sleep in a tent just to come in the house and give her medicine if that's what you actually need me to do. And I said, thank you, Janelle, for caring. So Christine says, it's no point in complaining about this because if I complain about it, it's not going to help anything. And Christine admits that Isabelle would feel really guilty if she saw how exhausted that Christine is. She says it's stupid to complain about it because it's her most important job. It's okay to be tired, Christine. And I wish you could have taken up Janelle on her offer. But I get why you didn't. I understand that, you don't know if you've been exposed, but all of you all, or at least Janelle could have taken a test to see. I don't know, just my thoughts, just to alleviate some of that for you. The bird reminds us that they're still doing the socially distanced thing because of COVID and with the family deciding not to be united on this. She's acting like Christine had to take her kid to get surgery. Janelle had to be there and wanted to be there for Evie's surgery. All of the trips aren't just we're going around and we're having fun, we're out and about. They're going to see their family and spending time with their family. So something about the way she said it bothered me, because Robin always tries to make herself, as someone else said in the comment section, seem like a martyr. Isabelle comes out, she's smiling. Cody and Robin are sitting right next to each other on the table. It's like watching a monogamous couple while they talk to the others. Meri is at the other end of that picnic table. We find out that Isabelle is an inch taller than before. She thought she was 5'11 already, but she wasn't. She was 5'10. Now she's 5'11. Janelle lets us know that Isabelle is one of those kids who will say everything is okay, and she smiles while being in pain, and she can tell even there where she's sitting there that she's in a lot of pain. They talk about her scar. She sews it. Janelle says it was so sweet that when you woke up from the surgery, you were asking for your daddy and Gwenny, which shows that unlike some of the others, Janelle has been in constant communication with Christine. But her daddy not being there wasn't really sweet. So when she said it, I was like, ugh. She says, yeah, mom told me, but I don't remember anything. Christine then, I don't know if she's trying to make him feel bad or not. I hope she was trying to make him feel bad because he deserved it, or make him look bad. She says the doctor was surprised to hear that, her father wasn't there. And every few minutes, Isabelle would ask for Gwen and Cody. And I'm like, yes, keep digging it, keep digging it. She says, I said, look, you got me, okay? You got me. Lightening up the thing. So then Isabelle gets up. She kind of stumbles a little bit. Cody's like, Christine, is she, does she need help? And of course, Christine follows her inside because she's going to help her. If she did need help, Cody, were you going to get up and help her? No. Meri's like, Christine's going to be right by her side. She's going to make sure she's good. Cody then says, when you're nursing someone back to help, the help needs breaks too. But this is Cody. Christine must be exhausted from taking care of Isabelle. And this is also Cody. Meaning, she's exhausted and she needs help, but I'm not going to do anything to help her. I'm not going to offer to help her. I'm not going to bring food for her or order DoorDash or come by the house and just, talk to her outside the window. I'm not going to do anything but just, say, Christine, yeah, you look rough. You look rough, girl. You look like you could use, some help, but don't look for me for the help. Don't think I'm going to help you, even though I'm the baby daddy. I'm not going to help you. He then says, but, she doesn't have any relief because I'm not here. I'm not there to help her. But I'm glad, I'm so glad that we found this surgery, if all the effort and all the things that happened was worth this, I'm glad that she got this instead of the rise. And I got an attitude instantly because what do you mean we? But then he says, I'm saying we, but really it was Christine, I'm saying we because of the family support. But what family support was there? The family didn't help Christine get insurance. Christine got the insurance. The only family support that I think she really had was from Janelle. I just got to call it like I see it. You all tell me how you see it. He says he just wants the best for I just want the best for my little girl. I want her to be happy and pain-free. And I hope that'll happen shortly. And that's it. I don't know, y'all. There's a lot about this situation that ticked me off. There's a lot about this episode that made me really feel like Cody's a jerk. And so are a lot of his wives, because the way that, let me not say a lot, The Bird and Cody really ticked me off with the way that they handled this situation. Because if Robin had spoke up and said that she'll be okay without him, the kids will be okay without him, just go for a couple weeks and do it, he should have done it. And I say that because let's put the pandemic to the side. I remember as a little girl, my daddy would go out on deployment, right? We didn't even have the technological advances that we have now back in those days. We thought we were doing something when I was in high school and we could email, right? With that being said, how hard would it have been for Robin to be out of Cody's presence for 6 weeks, if the 6 weeks is what it took? There are families out there who go months, sometimes years, without seeing their family members because of their service. And I just feel like Robin's constant need to act like her children matter more than the others pisses me off. But you all tell me your thoughts down below. Thank you so much. Sorry for my outbursts at times, but Cody really ticked me off during this episode. Until next time. Y'all, now if you are OG, you know how me and this clicker fight. Okay, let's see if it's gonna do it now. Let's see.